Am I the butthole for throwing away all my sister-in-law's wedding invitations? So I, 18 female, run a small business, where I do calligraphy. I make Redbubble stickers and do wedding invitations. It's not a large source of income for me, but it is nice to have a few more dollars coming in. I do hope to expand it one day because I put a lot of work into my designs and spend a lot of money on supplies. My 25 male brother got married to his 26 female girlfriend before the world went to hell, but there is an incident that she still is angry with me for and refuses to speak to me. For her wedding, she asked me if I would do the invitations. I was fine with doing them as a wedding gift, until I realized that she was having a 200+ person wedding and wanted handwritten menus, invitations, and name cards as well as table cards with facts about her and her fiancé. Of course, she picked the most expensive stationery and most elaborate designs that she could. I told her straightforward that I would not be able to finance this, me being a broke 17-year-old saving up for college, and that I could do if I were paid, in which I would just give her a regular wedding gift. I told her that I would heavily discount the price to where she would only be paying for supplies. She told me that we would work out the details, to which I assumed she meant the price/budget for supplies. Now I finish all the invitations took me a significant chunk of time, but they are ready to go. I asked my SIL to reimburse me for the costs, and she flips her crap and refuses to pay me, saying that I'm taking advantage of her and that I should be nice to her since the rest of the wedding was extremely expensive and that I was doing this to purposely exclude her from her new family. Here's where I might be TA. At this point, I had spent a lot of money and time on them, and I realized that there was no way she was going to pay for the menu/table cards. So I threw away all the invitations I had made. It hurt to see my work go down the drain, but I did use the designs I created for them as examples on my Etsy site. By this time it was too late to hire someone to make new invitations, so Sil basically had to send emails instead of invitations. She managed to get printed menus for cheap though. Sister-in-law still won't speak with me. Mom is on my side and brother is pretty neutral, he just wants me to apologize to keep the peace. Am I the butthole? TLDR, sister-in-law refuses to pay for wedding invitations, so I throw away the ones I made for her. Edit 1. So some have asked why I couldn't just give that to her as a gift instead of buying a separate one when I realized that I wouldn't be paid. The reason is that the stationery, plus, new pens costed way more than I would usually shell out for a wedding gift. I was going to buy her a good coffee machine, $80, as that was the only thing I could really afford on my budget. The stationery and supplies would have costed hundreds of dollars on my end if I had gone through with making all the things without reimbursement. This would have wiped out virtually all my profits for this year, but luckily I only ended up doing the invitation, so I wasted a lot less money than I would have if I'd gone through with the project. NTA, but in the future, get a contract and a deposit to at least cover supplies before doing all that work. Especially true with family members. But where is the brother in all of this? When sister-in-law refused to pay, he should have insisted. This is his sister. Not to mention that when someone becomes such a bridezilla, I would take that as a huge warning sign for the future if I were him. He's probably hoping it blows over. If you can't be real with the person you married, why the hell would you marry them? I hope he realizes that this is just a preview. The fact that the brother is neutral means that he realizes/knows how much of a butthole his wife is. He's just embarrassed with it all. Not embarrassed enough to do the right thing. Pay his sister. If I were this dumb, if I were I would expect my husband to say, "Hey, I think you might be wrong here, this is why." It's happened, my husband has called me out on some butthole-ish behavior, and I've done the same to him. As long as we do it in a respectful, sensitive, constructive way, it's okay. Normal people can take some constructive criticism. Now if they can't absolutely be reasoned with, well, that's a big red flag. He's not helping his fiancée with wedding planning, and he's not helping his sister with this problem. The brother's the real butthole here. Edit. Oh good, the MRAs found me to call me a misandrist for expecting men to do things. I kept wondering why her brother didn't just step and pay for the supplies. Then everyone is happy. I agree with you on that one. Happy cake day. And not the butthole. I kept wondering why her brother didn't just step and pay for the supplies. Because he's a butthole. Likely he is more like a doormat. Being a doormat when someone is being taken advantage of his pretty butthole leash. Yeah, that makes sense. And butthole doormat then? Ass Matt? Where does it say the brother didn't help with the wedding planning? In the comments. But where is the brother in all of this? Siding with sister-in-law. By enabling her. And then force original post to apologize for keeping the peace. The wife plays with the penis. The sister does not. Therefore, he will prefer to continue with the penis playing until the bridezilla starts stomping his balls. Ew. True enough. Like, why is it never the person throwing the hissy fit asked to do something to keep the peace? Rolling eyes face. He's being a wiener and is probably telling his new wife she's in the right while avoiding conflict elsewhere. Honestly, I just feel bad for Op. Being taken advantage of, especially as such a young person trying to get their business up and running, must feel terrible. The fact she is now family with that person just adds salt to the wound. He wants original post to apologize. That should never happen. I'm a wedding planner and I don't do friends or family weddings period edit. I definitely still give them advice and help out with details. I love what I do and it's fun. But they're not getting the tools, email reminders, etc. I do for clients. Life pro tip for sure. Double true with family members. Triple true with friends or friends of friends. I complained to my friend once about a girl I had only met and hung out with twice asking me for my friends and family rate, and he said I should have told her I could give her my people I barely know rate laughing out loud. I barely know rate laughing out loud. AKA 175%. Family pays up front. This healthy family offers to pay up front, and doesn't wait until they're asked by a 17-year-old. Yes, and be sure to craft a beautifully written apology with plenty of resplendent calligraphy. Really rub it in with an ornate note detailing exactly why you threw the invitations away and how you would do it again in a heartbeat. NTA. Edit. Thank you for the awards, kind Redditors. I can picture it now and it's beautiful and petty all at once. Petty and pretty? Pretty petty, yes. Great side hustle idea right here. Custom cussing calligraphy designs. I had a friend do this in college. Having the C word in old-fashioned lettering is the best. Op. This dude. I'd pay to send the most beautiful of FU to certain people. Add some glitter to it for the extra drip of petty. Pretty. Pretty in ink. Pretty for the Knicks inclined. Just take my upvote. Yep, I image all kinds of fancy swirls around the large, capital letter F that would undoubtedly begin the final rejoinder. The most gorgeous, middle finger, she's ever seen. You are my hero, heart. So much this. Also, if your brother really wanted to keep the peace he could have, put his hand in his pocket and, paid you himself? He is not neutral, he's 50% time thief, just like your sister-in-law. Op may want to look into whether she, or her parents, if she's a dependent, can write off the cost of materials as a home business expense. Sorry, Sil, you couldn't pay me and I couldn't afford to eat the cost. I had to trash them to cover the expense. Only if she's claiming her business on taxes. If she's doing it under the table and not reporting, even if she's making less than could be taxed, she wouldn't be able to claim expenses. Yep. But she can totally still claim it for 2020 as a freelancer even if she hasn't previously filed taxes on it. Food for thought, anyway. That's a good point, smiley face. Edit to add if she's a dependent that might change. I'm not a tax consultant, I just occasionally freelance side gigs. NTA. Absolutely agree with a contract. It's sad how many family and friends will abuse your services. Saying that I'm taking advantage of her. This here is where sister-in-law is showing her true colors, taking advantage of a 17-18-year-old for a laborious task and expected all free. So true. It's also weird her brother didn't just pay for them if sister-in-law refused. I wonder why he didn't. She should have absolutely, but barring that, why did no one pay her? If my husband did something so stupid, He would never. I'd pay my in-law. NTA. It seems like you got a few valuable lessons in being a small business owner. Your work has value, and that being clear and specific about expectations upfront can save you lots of heartache later on. 100%, you needed to have your costs, as a minimum, covered before you even began. Ops says she usually uses Etsy, so generally people order them and pay them, she makes them. I think in the future she may be more inclined to have people order online anyway. Yep. If you don't get paid at least for materials up front, be prepared to not get paid. Not the butthole. And always treat them like you would any other client, no special treatment. This 100%. Not the butthole, and do not apologize. Also, don't ever tell yourself, well, they're made already, so I'm not really losing anything. That's what people like this do. Give them nothing. NTA, and your brother should have paid you. Family does not mean you have permission to take advantage. Always get at least 50% upfront for your work, even if it's family. Especially if it's family. They're the worst about this kind of entitlement. I charge extra for family. I'm in IT, so people think I do computer repair, which I do not do. So when they ask, I have a hard price they pay in cash up front. Few of them are willing to do that, though my grandma even pays for my gas. So she gets my time. Same, I help my wife and my mother, everyone else gets go away pricing. Why is it $3 million to install ad blockers? Because I don't want to? I always liked the idea of mates rates, as a customer, from friends and family. Now I own my own business, and I realize that, if I truly want my friends, family to succeed, I will pay them at least the asking price. If they offer me discounts, then I won't accept them. Or I will offer the same discount to them for me. Or I'll do jobs for them worth at least that amount, if they refuse to accept my money, lol. Special rates for friends and family make sense if you work for a large corporation or are successful enough that they need the favor from you. Or if your markup is high enough that even with a discount you can still make a decent wage out of doing the work for them. If you're a new and or struggling business, it makes no sense to discount yourself, particularly to family or friends who are financially comfortable. My husband says pay X amount, usually a couple $100, or it is on my time. His brother picked option 2 10 years ago. The laptop still sits in a box in our closet waiting for my husband to find the time to fix it. LOL. If you want, you can send it to me, and I'll fix it on my YouTube channel. A little computer archaeology. My husband has started replying to IT questions with, I can, and it's $400/hour. Puts a quick end to it. I always say $150 per hour. With a 4-hour minimum upfront. I did a side job for a family member, and the friends and family discount makes the job not worth it sometimes. Managing all the supplies and time sucks. If it was a normal person, I'd be like, F you, my time is worth a lot of money. I've worked long and hard to know what I know and do what I do well. Obviously not those words, but close-ish. Am I charging too much? Comes in hard when you want to do them a favor but not lose your shirt, or devalue your time, on your task. Why didn't original post just hold the invites for payment? But I assume sister-in-law or someone would have cracked. At this point it wasn't worth it for op. For a client it's easier, as you say, no money, no invites. But for family they can do your life impossible with come on, it's not that much money, let it free for us, or things like that to make original post look like a bad person. So now they pay the price of not paying. Ironic, isn't it? Also, NTA, just in case XD. Well, why not both? Por qué no los dos? You've asked me 2 times and I've told you I need to be paid. If you ask me one more time, I'll trash half of them. If you still think to ask me again, I'll trash the rest. Capiche? NTA. But for family they can do your life impossible with come on, it's not that much money, let it free for us, or things like that to make original post look like a bad person. Throwing the invites out didn't avoid that. I never realized how lucky my partner and I were until reading other people's horror stories. We make and sell jewelry. I like making gift pieces for my mom, dad, sister, and Mill, but anytime they have asked for something, They have upfront told me they are going to pay for it and they don't object to whatever I tell them the cost will be. Wow. She used the trust that family members have with one another to get you to put a time and money into a project when she actually had no intention of paying for it. She tried to rob a 17-year-old high school student, the sister of her future husband, no less. But not only is she so is your brother. There were two people getting married. If she refused to pay, your brother should have. They both owe you an apology. NTA. I was thinking this. Why can't the brother pay her for it since it's his wedding? Honestly, if I had siblings who were getting married, and they wanted to use my service, I definitely expect to be dealing with the sibling and not the so. Or at least both of them together. Honestly, brother sounds pretty crafty for remaining neutral. If my so did that to my sister, he'd be on my crap list and really have to make up for it. He's just enabling her and scamming his minor sister. Brother didn't really remain neutral if he wants original post to apologize. Neutral is not neutral in situations like this. Staying out of it or silent means you're on the side of the butthole. It was his wedding too, his expense. Presumably his money also going into it. So he could have very easily told Sil to take a hike and pay original post, but he didn't. That's not staying neutral. He's not some innocent bystander, he's the bloody groom. Yup. Not taking a side there means you already did. My mother is one of those people. Every time my brother started a fight with me, he's a master at that, she would not pick sides but ask me to apologize because his feelings were hurt. If people really weren't pick sides, they'd stay 100% out of the situation. Brother is not neutral. It was his wedding. He's not paying his sister for work she did for his wedding. He's the bigger butthole here because he's trying to act like this had nothing to do with him. Remaining neutral in a case like this is taking a stance. He's on his wife's side. Thank you for watching. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube. And share them with your friends. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. We welcome your comments below. Another of our videos will begin shortly.